Metinda, the Pupanidio Koslo is Orson and Jay with you. Good morning to everyone who's listening to us, to Kroeder Kroghen today. Now, at the recent conference on Cornwall held at Perranporth, where lots of conferences on Cornwall seem to be held, a valued contributor was Seamus Coslean from Ireland, as you'll guess from his name. Now, Rod Lyne made the point to him that there are not, as yet, many speakers of Cornish. Is this, he asked, the heart of the problem? Should the language come first?
I think culture is a complete package, and language is part of that. The most important thing about a language for a minority community or a minority group of speakers, if you are a minority culture, but you have the same language as a neighbouring majority culture, then they will eventually swamp you, or at least swamp your children, or at least swamp your children's children with their ideas and their outlook. It happens from generation to generation. In Wales, for instance, the language is still there. 3/4 or more of the people don't speak it, but they're still Welsh for two reasons. One, they still inherit the attitudes of their parents, their grandparents, and so on, which come eventually from the Welsh language. And also they feed in to what the Welsh language community broadcasts as a general expression of Welshness. So they remain Welsh, and in some way they're protected from an English influence. But should the Welsh language die out, then that one influence will be gone, and eventually the English one will take over.
Well, we should take note of what Seamus has to say about Cornish and its place in Cornwall. And now let's hear how things stand with our Breton cousins. I asked Rod Lyne about Morwenna Jenkin and her group of Breton children. I asked Rod what Morwenna had been doing.
She went to Brittany 67 years ago to teach, and now she's found herself in Brest, where she's at a Diwan funded school, where all the lessons are actually led in Breton, which is unusual.
I guess in Paul's a pity D1 maar plek. Well, that's Stier and German.
D1. That's a group that's been formed to foster the teaching of Breton to children by way of initially play schools and then to older children, now eventually into children of 11 and 13 years old. Morwenna brought with her one of the mistresses at the school, who is a fluent Breton speaker, with 8 children, who themselves are very fluent in Breton. In fact, I witnessed that when I met them. They were all playing together and happily speaking in Breton.
Where rather a war Kerins and players my kids were Bretonic in West, bo Idian players Agahonan, or Tusky in the Agahonan, Bulls, Scullions, other wars Agaherins.
Well, there's a mixture actually, well. Some of them come from families that do speak Breton at home, but most of them have learned it as a second language at school. But they've done so well because they are speaking it all the time at school, playing using the language, and they are as fluent as though it were spoken at home.
I've been my testing in Rayma, Disky Nep Kenya in West, Ken is Bretonic, here this Frank, me sure, Bretonic, Yeat Adel in West.
Oh, sure. The one they choose invariably is English, of course. And with that in mind, Morwenna brought them across here for a fortnight. Initially went to Wales in time for the music Stedford, and then down to Cornwall, where they've met quite a few of our friends. And they've been working as well as playing. Morwenna took them to Truro on Tuesday of last week, where they had to meet people in the street and ask them questions in English. In Southneck.
Nidil lazy the guest people in Bretonic and the radio in Truro, you sure?
There's a near diesel classic Bretonic in Kernewek.
No.
But it's very interesting, and the support is mainly coming from Diwan themselves and from the parents of the children, financially that is, and from the local councils. Unfortunately, Paris, as a central body, is only paying really lip service. They are encouraging the movement, but not financially encouraging them, unfortunately, at the moment.
Well, that's the Pilia School in Pana, Pilia School Diwan, Keffer, and in Breton.
I don't know how many schools are actually in Breton being run by Diwan, but I think I'm right in saying that this is the first where the medium of Breton has been used for teaching all subjects.
A fi tyfyn mi ofyn o'r rod ni omwyn Kernewek several sgolion partner.
Oh, a marvelous idea, Weller. One of our dreams, isn't it? We've got to work on it, of course. I mean, in Britain there are so many more Breton speakers. It's been really hard work for them. And with us being a much smaller number of speakers, it's going to be even harder work. But I think we're on the right lines. We're getting backing now from the Education Authority, which is very important.
Mae ni yn dydd nephew Hinwys Dallas yn un gwir.
Oh, queer, in the Dallas. That is really founded on the same lines as the earlier Diwan group, where we had children virtually just over the cradle and taught them from the very early stages Cornish. And that group really met on Saturday mornings as a play group. But although there's been quite a number of very interesting little books published for them, we haven't been able to see any progress in the form of school teaching as yet.
Race Swenw Diwan, Race Swenw in West Agan Dallas on when in Kernewek. Well, just to finish it, I believe you did have a souvenir necessary for these Motesson Gans in Bagatha.
That's right. Despite your spectacles, Weller, you saw my record on my arm. Yes, the school very kindly gave to Radio Cornwall a double disc called Euroschool, which I think is recorded by many of the children in the schools run by Diwan.
I saw my Tasneil Gwari Canada Orson Fladden American Spell.
Tiddins there, me Gargas Lord.
Mirasis Rodel Kutu. Thanks very much to Dave Rob for telling us all about Diwan.
You're welcome, Weller.
Here now then is a track from that record. It's an improvisation for the guitar from the Europa recording, a gift from the children of Diwan. Hem you all in Silversmill, this in Nessa Throw, just son of the all. That's all. Till next week.